Every word you speak is far more powerful than you may realize. Each thought you think and each sentence you utter is like a seed dropped into the fertile soil of your subconscious mind. Over time, those seeds sprout into the experiences, relationships, and realities of your daily life. Most of us were never taught this truth when we were young. We may have thought words were just sounds, fleeting and insubstantial. But in truth, words shape energy and energy shapes life. The way you talk to yourself, even quietly, in the privacy of your own mind, creates the atmosphere of your entire existence. When we practice affirmations, we are not simply being positive or pretending that difficulties do not exist. Affirmations are not empty cheerleading. They are sacred tools that allow us to redirect the current of our inner dialogue, lifting us from patterns of fear, criticism, and lack into patterns of love, confidence, and abundance. An affirmation is an intentional thought, a phrase spoken with awareness that shifts your vibration and gradually transforms your life. Just as a garden flourishes when tended with care, your life blooms when you choose to plant nourishing, life-giving words. It is important to remember that this practice is not about perfection. Even in moments of struggle, even when you are hurting, repeating loving words begins to soften the edges of fear and bring comfort. You might feel silly the first time you stand in front of a mirror and whisper, "I love and approve of myself." But just as taking vitamins or medicine daily supports the body, affirmations act as daily nourishment for the soul. They are your spiritual vitamins, strengthening you little by little until one day you notice you feel lighter, calmer, and more at peace. Every word you speak plants a seed for your tomorrow. Affirmations are not only for when life is smooth, they are especially powerful when life feels uncertain. When we affirm peace in the middle of chaos, we discover that safety comes not from controlling everything outside of us, but from nurturing clarity and trust within us. Affirmations are like small anchors we drop into the waters of our day, helping us feel steady no matter what the waves may bring. What you give out always returns to you, multiplied in love. This is one of the simplest and yet most profound laws of life. When you choose to send out affirmations of love, kindness, and prosperity, you are setting in motion an energetic pattern that cannot help but circle back to you. Affirmations are your way of conversing with the universe, of saying, "This is the direction I choose. This is the vibration I stand in." And the universe, always listening, responds in kind. So as we begin this journey together, I invite you to treat affirmations as a daily devotion, a gentle practice of tending to your inner garden. The words you speak to yourself matter. They matter in the morning when you wake up. They matter in the evening as you drift to sleep. And they matter in every quiet moment in between. Think of this time together as a safe space to explore new ways of talking to yourself, new ways of relating to life itself. Stay with me until the end, because together we will affirm one powerful truth, a sentence so simple, yet so transformative, that you can carry with you throughout the day. That single phrase, spoken with sincerity, can begin to shift your energy right now, opening the door to greater peace, love, and abundance. Life has a way of bringing us challenges. Sometimes they come as small annoyances, a bill that arrives unexpectedly, a phone call that disrupts your plans, or a disagreement with someone you love. Other times they arrive as larger storms, illness, loss, financial setbacks, or transitions we did not ask for. We cannot always control what happens, but we can always choose how we speak to ourselves in the middle of those moments. That choice is powerful. It determines whether we sink deeper into fear or rise gently into peace. The habit for many of us is to react to problems with criticism, panic, or blame. We tell ourselves, "This is terrible. I'll never get through this. Nothing ever works out for me." These words, though often unconscious, become affirmations that reinforce fear and lack. They tighten the knot of anxiety in the chest and drain us of the very energy we need to move forward. Louise Hay often reminded us that the words we speak are like commands to the universe. When we affirm despair, the universe mirrors that back. When we affirm calm, clarity, and safety, the universe aligns with that energy too. So imagine the difference when, instead of repeating fear-based phrases, you pause and breathe in a gentler truth. You say to yourself, "All is well. Everything is working out for my highest good. I am safe." Even if part of you doesn't fully believe it yet, the repetition begins to soothe the nervous system. It's like speaking softly to a frightened child you don't need to argue or prove. You simply need to bring comfort. Over time, those words reshape the inner climate of your mind, and soon you find yourself calmer, steadier, and more open to solutions. I want you to try something right now. Think of one situation in your life that feels heavy or unresolved. Instead of rehearsing the fear or the complaint, place your hand on your heart and softly affirm, "Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe, loved, and supported." Speak it once, then again, and then one more time, slower, as if every word is a warm balm flowing into the very center of your being. Notice how your breath changes. Notice the shift in your body, subtle but real. That is the healing power of affirmations at work. Problems will always arise. That is part of the rhythm of being human. But every problem carries within it a hidden blessing, a lesson, or a doorway to growth. Affirmations allow you to stay calm enough to see that doorway. Instead of collapsing into despair, you lean into trust. You begin to expect that solutions are on their way, that support is around the corner, that new opportunities are being prepared for you even as you rest. When you affirm peace, you invite clarity. And clarity, more often than not, reveals the next loving step to take. Think back over your life. How many times have you faced something that seemed impossible at first, only to discover later that it led to unexpected good? Perhaps a job loss that opened the door to a better career. Perhaps an illness that brought you closer to your body and your health. Perhaps a heartbreak that taught you the value of your own strength. Each time, there was a turning point where you chose, sometimes without realizing it, to keep moving, to keep affirming life, to keep trusting. That same choice is available to you right now, in this very moment. Affirmations are not magic spells that erase every difficulty instantly. They are gentle companions that carry you through challenges with grace. They create a safe inner space where solutions can reveal themselves naturally. When you say, "I am safe, loved, and supported," you are not denying the reality of your situation. You are reminding yourself of the deeper truth that beneath the surface, life is always supporting your highest good. So the next time a problem appears, instead of rushing to say, "Why me? This always happens," pause. Place your feet on the ground. Breathe deeply. Speak these words with tenderness. Out of this situation, only good will come. I am safe, loved, and supported. And then let that affirmation echo through your day like a steady drumbeat of reassurance. Problems may come and go, but your inner voice of love will remain constant, guiding you back to peace every single time. When Louise Hay first began speaking about affirmations, the world was not ready. The idea that your thoughts could shape your life was considered strange, even radical. In the 1972nd and 1982nd, self-help was still in its infancy. Most people believed that life happened to them, not through them. If you were sick, it was only about the body. If you were poor, it was only about the economy. If you were lonely, it was only about chance. But Louise began to whisper a new idea, one that soon became a movement. Change your thinking, and you can change your life. It started small. She would invite people to experiment with tiny practices, affirmations said in the morning, blessings spoken before bed, gentle words of encouragement repeated in front of the mirror. "I am willing to change my thinking," she would suggest. Just that one affirmation, repeated with sincerity, began to create shifts in people's lives. Someone might find that the daily stress they carried started to loosen. Another might notice that their health improved because they no longer flooded their body with fear. Someone else might even laugh as they realized they could find a parking space with ease simply by affirming it on their way into town. At first, these examples sounded too simple even unbelievable. But those who practiced discovered that simplicity was the secret. The small daily choices to affirm life created a foundation for greater changes. Louise often said that our thoughts are like seeds, and the soil is our consciousness. If we plant seeds of doubt, fear, and lack, that is the crop we harvest. But when we plant seeds of love, possibility, and trust, we begin to reap blessings in ways large and small. The phrase, "change your thinking, change your life," became her hallmark teaching. She knew from her own journey growing up with hardship, overcoming trauma, and even healing from illness, that transformation was not reserved for the lucky few. It was available to anyone willing to examine their inner dialogue and choose a kinder, more supportive thought. Louise's life became proof of her philosophy. She embodied the message that no matter how painful your past, you could always choose a new beginning with your mind. People began to experiment. Some started with affirmations around money. Life supports me in every way. I am open and receptive to new prosperity. Suddenly, unexpected opportunities arrived, or they noticed abundance in places they had overlooked. Others worked with health. I love and approve of myself. My body heals quickly and beautifully. They found that their bodies responded positively when their minds were filled with love rather than fear. Even relationships began to shift when people affirmed, "I am willing to release old patterns. I deserve healthy, loving connections." This was not about denying reality or pretending problems did not exist. Louise never asked people to ignore their struggles. Instead, she encouraged them to look at their struggles through the lens of possibility, to say, "Yes, this challenge is here, but I can meet it with new thoughts, with fresh energy, with affirmations that lift me higher." In that way, affirmations became tools of resilience, helping people move from despair into hope, from fear into peace. What made this movement unique was how accessible it was. You didn't need to buy expensive programs or follow a rigid philosophy. You simply needed to be willing. Willing to pause, to listen to your self-talk, and to replace harshness with kindness. Willing to say, "I am willing to change my thinking," even if you didn't yet know how. Willing to trust, "Life supports me in every way," even if your outer world looked uncertain. That willingness became the doorway to transformation. Today, what once sounded radical has become a foundation for millions of people worldwide. Self-help bookstores are filled with affirmation guides. Therapists, doctors, and spiritual teachers all recognize the connection between mind and body. And in many ways, it began with those simple, radical seeds Louise invited us to plant. From parking spaces to peace of mind, from small daily victories to profound life changes, the power of affirmations has proven itself again and again. So as you reflect on your own journey, remember, You don't need to leap into perfection or force yourself into instant transformation. Start small. Begin with one phrase. Whisper to yourself, I am willing to change my thinking. Breathe it in. Let it take root. Because in that simple act, you are joining the same movement that Louise sparked decades ago. The movement that says your life can blossom, starting with the thoughts you choose today. Before Louise Hay became a voice of healing and affirmation for millions, she walked through valleys of hardship and pain that most would find unbearable. Her early life was marked by abuse, poverty, and rejection. As a child, she endured experiences that left deep scars on her sense of safety and worth. She grew up believing, as so many wounded children do, that she was not good enough, that somehow she was to blame for the harm she endured. Those patterns of shame and unworthiness followed her into adulthood, shaping her choices, her relationships, and her sense of self. And yet, it was from this very soil of suffering that her work was born. Louise often said that healing is possible for anyone because she had lived it herself. The little girl who once felt unloved and unsafe became the woman who taught millions how to love and affirm themselves. But it did not happen overnight. Healing required courage. It required a willingness to let go of the shame that had defined her for so long. When Louise first began her own path of self-discovery, she realized that holding on to anger and resentment only deepened her pain. The more she repeated old stories of being unwanted, the more powerless she felt. At some point, she chose to stop identifying with the wounded child and instead to nurture the adult within her who could speak a new truth. She began to practice forgiveness, not to excuse what had happened, but to free herself from the chains of the past. Forgiveness became the doorway through which she stepped into healing. She discovered that by affirming, I release the past with love, she could untangle herself from the grip of memory. She could bless her younger self, comfort her inner child, and begin to speak to herself with the kindness she had never received. Slowly, she replaced shame with self-acceptance, guilt with compassion, and fear with love. This personal healing journey also gave Louise the authenticity that made her teachings so powerful. When she stood before audiences or wrote her books, people felt her sincerity. She was not a polished guru who had never known pain. She was a woman who had walked through darkness and found a way to turn on the light. Her transparency about her childhood abuse and struggles with self-worth gave others permission to face their own hidden wounds. Louise also taught that our bodies often carry the unhealed memories of our past. She saw how shame, fear, and resentment could manifest as physical illness. When she herself faced a cancer diagnosis later in life, she leaned on the very tools she had been sharing with others: affirmations, forgiveness, healthy choices, and trust in the body's ability to heal. She affirmed, I am worthy of joy and healing, and committed herself to inner work. Her recovery became another testament to the power of self-love and thought transformation. By telling her story openly, Louise reminded the world that no one is too broken to heal. No past is too painful, no wound too deep. She showed that we always have the choice to release, to forgive, to affirm a new way of being. And her life became living proof that trauma can be transformed into wisdom, compassion, and purpose. Her personal journey continues to inspire because it reflects the universal truth. We are not our past. We may carry scars, but those scars can become symbols of resilience and rebirth. When we dare to speak words of love to ourselves, even when it feels uncomfortable, we create space for healing. When we release the shame that was never ours to carry, we step into freedom. Louise's story is a reminder for each of us. Whatever your past has been, today can be the beginning of something new. You can whisper to yourself, I release the past with love. I am worthy of joy and healing. You can let that affirmation take root in your heart and allow it to guide you into a life no longer defined by wounds, but by the beauty of healing. Forgiveness is one of the most misunderstood, yet most liberating practices you can give yourself. Many people resist it because they believe forgiving means excusing harmful behavior or saying what happened was acceptable. But Louise Hay always reminded us that forgiveness is not about the other person. It is about freeing yourself. When you hold on to resentment, bitterness, or anger, you remain tied to the very energy you wish to escape. The person who hurt you may never change, but when you choose forgiveness, you are no longer chained to their actions. You are free. Forgiveness is not a single act. It is a process. Some days, you may feel ready to release the pain completely. On other days, the old story may creep back in, and you will have to gently forgive again. That is perfectly normal. What matters is your willingness. The simple affirmation, I forgive myself and others easily, is not just a sentence. It is a declaration that you no longer allow your past to dominate your present. It signals to your heart and mind that you are worthy of moving forward, unburdened and at peace. Equally important is the practice of self-forgiveness. Many of us hold ourselves hostage for mistakes made years or even decades ago. We replay conversations, regret decisions, and criticize ourselves relentlessly. But carrying guilt does not make you better. It only depletes your energy. Louise often said, we are all doing the best we can with the understanding, knowledge, and awareness we have at that moment. When you begin to see your past self through the lens of compassion, you discover that you deserve the same kindness you so freely give others. Forgiving yourself allows you to stop punishing yourself for being human and start honoring yourself for being willing to grow. Closely connected to forgiveness is the sense of worthiness. Many people repeat affirmations faithfully, I am worthy of love. I deserve abundance. I am open to success. But then cancel them with negative self-talk moments later. They affirm, I am prosperous in the morning, but mutter, I'll never have enough when a bill arrives. They affirm, I love myself in front of the mirror, but then criticize their reflection for not being good enough. This inner contradiction blocks the flow of blessings. You cannot invite love while rejecting yourself, nor can you attract abundance while clinging to lack. Releasing resistance means aligning your inner dialogue with your affirmations. Instead of fighting against reality with anger or frustration, you soften into acceptance. Acceptance is not giving up. It is opening up. It creates a clear path for good to find you. Imagine water flowing into a cup. If the cup is covered, no water can enter, no matter how much is poured. Resistance is the lid. Acceptance is the open vessel. When you affirm, I deserve every good thing life offers, and then treat yourself with love, speak to yourself with respect, and choose thoughts that support your highest good, you remove the lid. You become ready to receive. The truth is that life longs to give to you. The universe is abundant and generous, but it responds to the energy you hold. When you carry resentment, guilt, or self-criticism, you send out a signal of unworthiness. When you forgive, affirm your value, and open your heart, you send out a signal of readiness, and the universe always responds. So today, pause and reflect. What resistance are you ready to release? Is it anger towards someone from your past? Is it the guilt of a choice you wish you had made differently? Is it the quiet belief that you are undeserving of love, joy, or abundance? Whatever it is, speak gently to yourself now. Affirm, I forgive myself and others easily. I deserve every good thing life offers. Let those words take root in your heart. One of the most profound truths Louise Hay taught is this: life is a mirror. What you believe about yourself is what gets reflected back to you through circumstances, relationships, health, and opportunities. This is not punishment or reward. It is simply the way energy works. When you stand before a mirror and smile, the reflection smiles back. When you frown, the reflection frowns. In the same way, when you affirm, I am worthy, I am enough, I am loved, life begins to echo that worthiness back to you in countless ways. Many of us have been unconsciously sending out thoughts of lack, fear, or unworthiness for years, and then we wonder why life keeps returning disappointment, struggle, or loneliness. But just as a boomerang always comes back to the thrower, so too do our beliefs return to us in lived experiences. This is why Louise so often emphasized, every thought you think, every word you speak, is an affirmation. Whether you affirm joy or misery, abundance or lack, health or dis-ease, the universe listens and reflects. The beautiful news is that you can change the message you send out at any moment. You are never trapped by old beliefs. The universe is infinitely flexible and responsive. It does not hold grudges, nor does it cling to your past mistakes. The moment you begin to plant new thoughts, thoughts of self-approval, gratitude, worthiness, life begins to adjust its reflection. Sometimes the changes are subtle at first, like a softening of tension or a small blessing that feels like coincidence. Other times, the shift is dramatic, a sudden opportunity, a miraculous healing, or a relationship transformed by love. Gratitude is one of the most powerful ways to polish the mirror of life. When you focus on what is working, what is beautiful, and what is already good, the universe responds by giving you more of it. Gratitude expands your vision. It tunes your heart to abundance. It says, I am paying attention. I am open to receiving. Similarly, when you affirm your worthiness, when you truly believe, I am enough, life rushes to confirm it. Opportunities appear, relationships feel lighter, and even your body responds with more vitality. Think of a day when you felt confident and joyful. Perhaps you smiled more, people greeted you warmly, and small blessings seemed to come your way with ease. Now think of a day when you felt defeated or unworthy. The world seemed harsher, people less kind, opportunities farther away. The external world had not changed. What changed was the belief you carried inside. That belief became the lens through which you saw life, and life reflected it back. Affirmations are the daily practice of choosing your reflection. When you speak, the universe mirrors my loving thoughts. You are consciously sending out a vibration of love, kindness, and compassion. That vibration cannot help but return to you. When you affirm, I believe I am enough, and so life treats me as enough, you are shifting your inner dialogue from criticism to acceptance. And as that acceptance grows, your outer world begins to mirror it with respect, opportunities, and love. It is important to remember that mirrors are neutral. They simply reflect. If you do not like the reflection you see in life right now, you are not doomed. You simply have the opportunity to change the beliefs you are projecting. This is not about blame. It is about empowerment. If you created one reflection, you can create another. If your boomerang once returned pain, you can now send out love, and love will return. The invitation today is simple. Pause and ask yourself, what beliefs am I sending out into the universe? Are you affirming lack or abundance, fear or faith, self-criticism or self-approval? Whatever you choose, remember, it will come back to you multiplied. Begin with one new thought, one kind affirmation, and trust the process. The universe always responds. Affirm now with conviction. The universe mirrors my loving thoughts. I believe I am enough, and so life treats me as enough. Let these words become the boomerang of belief you joyfully send out today, knowing that they will return to you as blessings, opportunities, and love. One of the greatest gifts we can give ourselves at any stage of life is the decision to keep things simple. Life doesn't need to be a soap opera. We don't need to carry the drama of yesterday or the anxieties of tomorrow into today. The truth is, most of our suffering comes not from what is happening now, but from stories we tell ourselves about the past or fears we project into the future. In reality, right here and right now, there is often nothing to fear. There is only breath, presence, and the choice to be at peace. Simplicity is a return to what matters most. Loving yourself, being kind to your body, cherishing the people who love you, and noticing the blessings that surround you. When we strip away the noise of the world and the constant chatter of the mind, we discover that joy has always been waiting for us in the present moment. The morning sun rising, the comfort of your favorite chair, the sound of laughter, or the warmth of a hug, these are treasures that no amount of money or status can replace. Louise often reminded us that living in the now is not just a spiritual practice, it is practical. When you are fully present, you take better care of yourself. You notice when your body needs rest, when your heart needs gentleness, and when your spirit needs inspiration. You stop running on autopilot and instead live intentionally. In that simplicity, there is safety. In that awareness, there is freedom. At any age, but especially in our later years, presence brings profound peace. We do not need to rehash the mistakes of our past or carry regret into the present moment. We do not need to endlessly prepare for a future that hasn't yet come. We are safe here in the now, and the now is the only place where life truly happens. When you remind yourself, I live in the present moment, you bring your energy home. You gather all the scattered pieces of worry, memory, and planning, and you anchor them in this breath. That is where your power lies. Gratitude deepens this presence. When you affirm, I am grateful for all that I have, you remind yourself that life has already given you much to celebrate. Gratitude doesn't deny that challenges exist. Rather, it shifts the focus so that blessings are not drowned out by burdens. Gratitude is a lens that makes ordinary moments extraordinary, and in that appreciation, life multiplies its gifts. And then there is safety, the feeling so many of us long for. To be safe, to be loved, and to feel complete. These are not luxuries. They are your birthright. When you say, I am safe, loved, and complete, you are declaring the truth of your being. You are aligning with the steady presence of life itself, which has carried you through every season and every storm. That sense of safety doesn't come from control or from making everything perfect. It comes from trust. Trust in yourself. Trust in life. Trust that you are supported in ways you may not even see. Now, close your eyes for just a moment and imagine golden light surrounding you. See it filling every cell of your body with warmth and calm. Picture it forming a protective shield around you, reminding you that you are safe, loved, and grounded in joy. This light is always available to you, no matter where you are or what is happening around you. Carry it with you as you move through your day. Affirm with me now, I live in the present moment. I am grateful for all that I have. I am safe, loved, and complete. These simple statements are more than words. They are keys that unlock peace, joy, and strength in the now. Use them often. Repeat them when you wake up, when you feel anxious, or before you drift to sleep. Let them be your anchors. If these affirmations uplifted your heart today, I encourage you to pass them along. Share them with a friend or loved one who may need hope, comfort, or a gentle reminder that all is well. And let's join together in affirming this truth as a community. Comment with, all is well. I am safe. Let those words ripple out like golden light, filling not only your life but the lives of others with peace and assurance. You do not have to complicate life to find joy. Simplicity is enough. Gratitude is enough. Presence is enough. And most of all, you are enough.